Hey there, my name is Sage and you are watching D&D Daily. Today I'm doing a blind stat block reading of the Witherbloom Professor of Decay from Strixhaven's Curriculum of Chaos. Professors of Decay wield magic that drains and twists the essence of the professor's subjects. The professors use the gathered essence to feed their magic, snuffing the life and decaying the bodies of the living, entreating and commanding the dead and undead, and twisting curses around their foes. In battle, they steal the essence of their enemies to heal their own wounds and create spears of sickly green life-draining energy. Witherbloom teachers who espouse the decaying side of the natural cycle instruct their students to exploit the essence of life for their own needs. Professors of Decay unravel the mysteries of death and the transition of decay, and they teach that any life's end is an asset waiting to be tapped. The Witherbloom Professor of Decay is a medium or small druid of any alignment. They have an AC of 14, 105 hit points, and 30-foot movement speed. They have a +1 to Strength, +2 to Dex, +3 to Con, +3 to Intelligence, +4 to Wisdom, and +1 to Charisma. They have proficiency in Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws, as well as the Arcana, Medicine, Nature, and Survival skills. They have resistance to necrotic damage, and they have a passive perception of 14. They speak Common and any 4 languages, have a challenge rating of 7, and a proficiency bonus of +3. They have Essence Transfer, which they can do once a day. The Professor can cast the Animate Dead spell using Wisdom as the spellcasting ability. The Professor of Decay comes with multi-attack. The Professor makes 2 Mortality Spear attacks. It can replace one of these attacks with the use of spellcasting. Mortality Spear is a melee or ranged spell attack with +7 to hit, a reach of 5 feet or range out to 120 feet. Hits one target and on hit does an average of 17 necrotic damage, and the target can't regain hit points until the start of the Professor's next turn. Essence Pulse, which recharges on a 5 or 6. The Professor creates a life-draining vortex in a 30-foot radius sphere centered on itself. Each creature of the Professor's choice that it can see within that area must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, taking on average 23 necrotic damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. The Professor then regains 10 hit points. An affected creature's hit points maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage taken. This reduction lasts until the creature finishes a long rest. The creature dies if its hit point maximum is reduced to 0. And finally, we come with Spellcasting, which has a spell save DC of 15. At will, we cast Druidcraft and Spare the Dying. Once a day, we cast Anti-Life Shell, Bane, Feign Death, or Speak with Dead. The Animate Dead feature gives us a perfect excuse to always run this combat with 4 zombies, because he has Animate Dead. You could also add some skeletons in there, but I think the zombies keep better control of the battlefield, which the Professor of Decay would appreciate. As for our basic multi-attack, we have the Mortality Spear, which has a range of 120 feet, so we're getting back to our Archer playstyle like the other mages had. On hit, it does pretty solid damage, and they can't regain health, which is pretty good, especially if you're going for the kill. Hitting someone who's on the ground who needs healing is a really devastating way to get a kill. Now, Essence Pulse is interesting. It recharges on a 5 or a 6, which suggests we are going to be able to use it 1 or 2 times in a combat. And it notably has a far lower range than our basic attacks. And it heals us, meaning we don't just want to open up with it, unlike a lot of recharge abilities. So what we want to do is keep our distance using our zombies and our multi-attack, and once they do get close, if they're able to get through our anti-life shield and start damaging us and we're starting to get surrounded, that's when you're going to want to pop this. If we're facing a lot of melee enemies, anti-life shell can go a long way to keeping us alive. However, if we're facing a lot of ranged enemies, Bane is going to be a much better option. Quick hot take, I think Feign Death should be a reaction to getting hit, so you get hit and you're like, ugh, I died. That would make it much better, but no, you have to use your action to pretend to die. And, you got the illustrious possum strat. You're running away and you're like, oh no, these guys are going to kill me, so you cast Feign Death, so looks like you died, and hopefully they'll leave you alone. And finally, we have the flavor spell Speak with Dead. We've definitely taken a step away from the playstyle of the Apprentice and Pledge Mage, and we've moved back towards most of the Strixhaven casters, which is kind of that archery playstyle with a couple utility spells. And I gotta say, I feel like I preferred the Apprentice and the Pledge Mage for the first time out of all of the schools. Witherbloom's the one that I like the Pledge Mage and Apprentice more than I like the Professor of Decay. This has been the blind stat block reading of the Witherbloom Professor of Decay. We are D&D Daily. We release new D&D content every single day, so if that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow.